Good evening, brave souls. I'm Grim. They call me a ghost now, but I was once like you, alive. Tonight, I'll be your companion through the shadows. So, get comfortable, if you're ready. The night has only just begun, and the stories are waiting to be told. In a small, forgotten village on the edge of the Nile Delta, the night was thick with a moonless sky. The streets were empty, save for the occasional flicker of an oil lamp. The villagers always stayed indoors after sundown, whispering among themselves about the ancient horror that had haunted them for generations. Ghoulah. The name alone sent shivers down spines. The creature was said to roam the night, hunting for the disobedient, especially children who wandered too far. Layla, a 16-year-old girl, had always been curious. She'd grown up hearing the stories, but she didn't believe in them. Her father was the village's healer, a man of reason and knowledge, who always dismissed the superstitions. "It's nonsense, Layla," he'd say. "People make up stories to explain what they fear." But tonight, Layla wasn't sure. She stood in her family's modest home, listening to the whispers of the wind outside. Her younger brother, Youssef, had disappeared earlier that day while playing near the edge of the village. "We have to find him," she cried to her father, who was pacing the room in anxiety. "He could be lost, or worse." Her father shook his head. "We'll search at dawn. No one goes out at night." But Layla couldn't sit by and do nothing. She waited until her father retired to his room, then grabbed the lantern. Her hands trembled, but she whispered to herself, "I'll find him, no matter what." Despite the warnings, Layla ventured out into the night. The wind howled, and the village felt colder than usual. Every step she took seemed to echo in the emptiness. The thought of her brother in danger pushed her forward. As she reached the edge of the village, the crops swayed ominously in the breeze. In the distance, she heard a soft, haunting lullaby. It was the kind of song mothers sang to soothe their children, but something about it was deeply unsettling. "Youssef?" she called out, her voice trembling, but there was no response, just the lullaby growing louder. Suddenly, the lullaby stopped. From the shadows, a figure emerged. A tall, skeletal woman draped in torn, blackened robes. Her eyes were sunken, and her skin was a deathly pale. Her long, sharp fingers reached out as she glided toward Layla. This was Ghoulah. Layla froze. "Where is my brother?" she demanded, trying to keep her voice steady. The creature smiled, revealing a row of jagged teeth. "He is mine now, little one, as you will be." Her voice was like nails scraping against stone. Layla stepped back, her heart pounding. "No, I won't let you take him." With a shriek, Ghoulah lunged at her, but Layla managed to duck and run. The creature's laughter echoed through the night as she gave chase. Layla sprinted through the fields, her mind racing. Her father had taught her about herbs and remedies, and she remembered something about salt, being a ward against evil. But she didn't have any with her. Then, she recalled the old well near the center of the village, a place where salt was stored to preserve fish. As she ran, the creature's footsteps grew closer, her breath cold on the back of Layla's neck. "You cannot escape, child," the voice hissed behind her. But Layla didn't stop. She reached the well, grabbed a handful of salt from the nearby storage, and turned to face Ghoulah. "Stay back!" she screamed, throwing the salt at the creature. The salt sizzled as it hit her skin, and Ghoulah let out a blood-curdling scream. "You cannot defeat me forever!" she shrieked, retreating into the shadows. Layla, gasping for breath, knew it was only a temporary victory. Layla ran deeper into the night, finally hearing the soft cry of her brother. She found him near a twisted tree at the edge of the village, his eyes wide with fear. "Layla, she tried to take me," Youssef whispered, trembling. "She won't hurt you again," Layla promised, holding him close. But she could feel the presence of Ghoulah drawing near again. The creature reappeared, her eyes glowing with rage. "I told you, you are mine!" she screeched. Layla had no salt left, but she wasn't ready to give up. "No!" she shouted. "You won't take us!" In a final act of desperation, Layla recited the ancient prayer her grandmother had taught her, words that had been passed down to protect against evil spirits. The air around them thickened as al-Ghoulah howled in pain, the prayer weakening her form until she finally dissolved into the wind, leaving behind only the eerie silence of the night. Layla held Yusef tightly as the first light of dawn began to break over the horizon. The village was safe, for now. But Layla knew that the legend of al-Ghoulah was far from over. She had faced the terror and survived, but she would always remember her grandmother's warning. Evil never truly disappears, it only waits. As they walked back home, the village slowly came back to life, unaware of the terror that had just unfolded in the night. Layla looked back at the edge of the village, a sense of dread still lingering. She would never forget the sound of that haunting lullaby. And as the darkness fades, remember, the real chills linger long after the story's end. Until next time, brave souls.